given where things are right now, I mean, in terms of the U.S. election, it's looking like it's going to be Trump and Biden again.
Yep.
Which is, I find quite mind-blowing that in a country of probably 350 million plus people, you're still coming down to octogenarians sort of battling it out in these. It's strange to me. I just don't, with so many people, I'm just like, man, how are these the only...
Yeah, there's no 45-year-old
How do these always end up
ready to roll?
Well, there are, but people don't seem to want them. And I know people have all sorts of theories around this, but it does genuinely seem like they don't gain as much popularity.
What's the theory? What's the main theory?
Well, there's a lot of people who think that everything is rigged and everything is a psyop, and
got it.
That no election is above board or anything. But I think with the primaries, people are voting for who they want their candidates to be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe this will change over time. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be Trump versus Biden again. And I don't know who would win that. I lean towards Trump. I don't know if that's because that is who I would prefer to see win. I do think current polling is showing that, although I always take polls with a grain of salt. Do you know what I think is going to happen? Maybe the best way to put it is I think whoever the election becomes a referendum on will lose.
Explain that.
What I mean is the 2016 election, I believe, was a referendum on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And people were sufficiently put off by her and her corruption and other things that they decided to go for the Trump option. Enough people decided to do that. I think the 2020 election was a referendum on Donald Trump. Yeah. The election wasn't, do you want Joe Biden to be president? Yes or no? The election was, how do you feel about Donald Trump? Yeah. Again, people have their theories on this thing, but I think that Trump is sufficiently polarizing that although there are millions of people who absolutely love him, some of them too much, like to a scary degree, there are also millions of people who cannot stand him. He's a very polarizing person. And I think it became a referendum on him. And as a result, he lost. So I think if Trump can stay kind of in the background enough that the focus is on Joe Biden and his inability to complete sentences and all of the bad stuff that he's done and where just where things are, whether that's foreign policy or how people are feeling about inflation or the economy, whatever. If it becomes a referendum on Biden, Biden will lose. Yeah. If Trump makes so much noise that people turn their focus back to him and remember, oh gosh, how if he kind of brings back that negative passion and so on, then I think that I think the best move for him would be almost like the way Biden played it in the previous one, which is just be in the background, don't make people too aware of what you are, and don't speak too much. I think that's the way it'll go. So I think as it currently stands, if it's to stay similar, I would think that Trump would edge it out, but there's still a lot of room for things to change. Yeah.
No, I agree. That makes sense, right? Like people already know what they're getting with Trump. Yes. And it's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side mentality of, all right, dude, we just had 4 years of Trump. There was too much division. So let's get this other guy. And then now we've had 4 years of that. And you're like, all right, this other guy sucks. Yep. Like, let's go back to the other guy. He was better. Yeah.
If people are unhappy, they tend to vote for the change option. Yeah. I saw this is very obviously, I mean, even if I just think in my own lifetime, the first American president I can remember is Bill Clinton. And it was like, okay, you have Clinton, and then after him, you get what, Bush? Yeah. So, people generally, a lot of people kind of like Bush at the beginning, and then you get the Iraq War and Afghanistan and this and that. And you get to a point, 2008, 2007, 2008, people are like, we're tired.
Well, we had the recession then.
Yep. Bad. Economy's bad. We don't like the way foreign policy is. The view of America around the world has dropped. We've got these silly foreign wars going on, which we don't support. Yeah. They lied about the WMDs and all this stuff. We need change. You got the Obama guy. Yeah. Yo.
My motto has changed.
He's handsome. Yeah. He looks good. First mixed race president. He speaks well. He's articulate. Hasn't had a lot of scandals or whatever. Boom. This is our guy. Easy. Yeah. Easy. Like we could have him, or McCain is going to be like more Bush. Yeah. Or we can have Obama. Let's get the change option. And then over time, it's not going quite as well as we liked. After 8 years of Obama, it's like, again, a large chunk of the country is disgruntled. They don't really like the way things are. Or whatever. You have Clinton. Clinton's going to kind of be more of the same, but maybe even more war hawkish, and she's kind of corrupt. We don't really. She's a known entity. We don't. And then you got this Trump guy, and he's saying some things that are a little bit crazy, but he's sort of making sense. And this, and you know what? F it. Like, let's change.
Let's try it.
Exactly. And then after 4 years of Trump, he's very polarizing. We're more divided than ever. Certain things have happened. So I just think that's how it goes.
Do you think that Trump caused a lot of the wokeness, or it was already going to happen regardless? Because like you said, you started to notice this stuff during Trump's time, and this divisiveness was happening at the same time. So did it get, I mean, I'm sure they both played a role in each other, but was it just something that was happening anyway, or did Trump really ignite it?
I think Trump was more of a response to it than an igniter. It was already happening.
It was already happening,
but it wasn't on everyone's radar. I think, again, I think that 2012, from 2012 onward, I often say I think 2012 is when we entered the clown world phase.
Got it.
I think after 2012, the West just started to come off the hinges. Not just the USA, same with the UK, same with Canada, the entire Anglosphere. Stuff just started to get socially and culturally weird. It just got to a point, like if you think of all these strange ideologies, whether people call it cultural Marxism or they call it wokeism or they call them social justice, whatever term someone wants to use to call it, this sort of basket of far left ideologies, critical race theory, the gender theories, whatever. Prior to 2012, it wasn't a thing. Like the ideologies exist. These have existed for decades.
Yeah.
But it wasn't mainstream at all. Politicians were not pushing it. People were not campaigning on some of these narratives. People were not using racial identity politics and gender identity politics and LGBT. Like even the whole LGBT thing prior to this point, the whole fight was just for gay marriage. That was all it was. That was like their last bastion. And by the way, this is my theory on why it came off the hinges around 2012, because it was like, oh, y'all got that victory. What are you going to do now? You've got all these millions of people who are activists and they want to fight for something. So I want to fight for some justice cause or whatever. What's the next frontier? They don't really have one, because actually all the laws are equal for the first time in history.
Yeah.
All the laws are equal. Show me all the people who want to fight for equality. Show me the law that is unequal. Show me the law that says men can do this, women can't do that.
Yeah.
Straight people can do this, gay people can't do that. Black can't do. All of American history prior to that, you could have pointed out a law. Then finally you get to a point where it's none of that. And so you've just got these people fighting invisible ghosts. And suddenly they're
just
screaming
need something
about
to fight for.
Yes. A lot of people do. Why are they screaming about white supremacy? I'm like, where? Where? No, honestly, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
At its peak, the KKK had 4 million members.
Yeah.
This is like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was bad, and they had people in Congress, and had police chiefs who were KKK members and whatever. Like that was actual white supremacy. You've got segregation. You've got, oh, you're black, you use that door, you use that fountain, you can't swim in this pool, whatever. And then all of a sudden we're in like 2020 and people are screaming about white supremacy. And you're just like, who, where, what? I meet a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've been called a white supremacist. I'm like, okay, you guys have jumped the shark.
You and Candace Owens.
Yeah.
White supremacists.
You guys are calling black people white supremacists. You're calling Asian people white supremacists.
It's like, the Dave Chappelle skit. That is my favorite. That's one of my favorite skits ever, dude. So funny.
Yeah, well, that's when you're like, okay, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
But that was it. That's like what happened.